Before we continue with the video, a very important disclaimer. There will be spoilers ranging from minor to major spoilers for the following games: Mass Effect, Cyberpunk 2077 including Phantom Liberty, and Expedition 33. Thank you for your time and I hope you enjoy the video. If you have played RPGs recently or before, the formula is really quite simple. Turn your character into a Chad, make their weapon bigger, romance the romantic interest, slay God, maybe collect some crystals or ambiguous everyday items along the way. By the time the credits roll, the big bad is dead, the realm can heal, you got your wife, life good. All this is set in motion in a very linear manner. You then have some games like Mass Effect where there are multiple but still good endings. By the end of Mass Effect 3, you get to choose if you assimilate synthetics with organics, making a new symbiosis between the two. You can take control of the space squids, making sure that the Reapers retreat the dark space for good, leaving biotics and synthetics to take care of themselves, entrusting them with their own future to build. You can also destroy the Reapers, truly eliminating the Reaper threat, but also killing all synthetics as well, like the Geth and Edie. Still, the good ending in Mass Effect revolves around a simple caveat: the Reapers must no longer be a threat. Once in a while, however, the video game player base at large starts long discourse about a game or two's ending and resolution for a simple reason. Which ending is the true or canonical good ending? Recently, Expedition 33 released with critical acclaim. The first few days and weeks were praising the game's sales, combat, graphics, visual style, music, characters, writing, performance, etc. After several weeks, it finally moved on to the elephant in the room. Which ending is the good ending? Let's take another game most of you might be familiar with: Cyberpunk 2077. Phantom Liberty added another potential ending for V, and yes, let's focus on endings for V. We won't even go on with endings for Songbird, Solomon Reed, and other characters, since that can already be a video on its own. And after all, V is the main character. V has several options to end their campaign in Night City. The all too famous Don't Fear the Reaper ending, where you channel your inner Silverhand quite literally and go guns blazing solo in a mission doomed to fail and hope you get to Mikoshi to get Johnny's construct separated from your brain so that V's body no longer rejects, well, V. If you die, the credits roll, meaning V did go out the way a legend does in Night City, guns blazing mid-op in a loud fashion. If you succeed, you hear that ultimately you are too late. The damage the relic has done is so far gone that the body truly believes it belongs to Johnny, not V. At this point, you're at an impasse. You can choose to keep your body as V and live what little life you have left as your body is about to give up. You could also choose to give it to Johnny, and don't forget, at the start, Victor said that the relic does what it is programmed to do so. Johnny is not willfully taking V's body, but he is definitely taking the opportunity he has at a second life, as he has done so many times in your playthrough. You can give him that full opportunity, see that he has left Night City, as the city has nothing left for him except bad memories and old wounds, thanking V for the wild ride and the chance at a new life. You can also choose to have the backing of Panam and the Aldecaldos. A handful of them die in their quest to help you out, and after you did give the Aldecaldos a solid foothold near Night City and a shining reputation, it is the least they can do. In the end, you also get the same choice: surrender your body to Johnny or live the rest of your short life. However, this time, Panam and the Aldecaldos, being the nomads that they are, leave Night City and look for newer pastures. But at the same time, they chase a possible lead that can save your life. After all, a Night City introduced problem may not be resolved in Night City, where only the city itself gets a good ending, not its inhabitants. If you have Rogue go with you, she forms a small team with you for a final mission, and also to finally take revenge on Adam Smasher for what she did to Johnny. In the end, she dies, but you, as Johnny, Get your revenge on Adam Smasher. You once again choose who keeps your body, and if you surrender it to V, V dies a legend by doing one more gig that is doomed, but it's really cool. It's a freaking space heist. Now, if you have this crazy idea to go along with Takemura and have Arasaka, who made the relic, try to help you with said relic, you can do that too. Now, you might be thinking, why would I do that? Maybe your V is a corporate life path, and even after they threw you under the bus, you still cannot help but indulge corporate V's propensity and expertise for making deals and bargains. I mean, they said it during the heist. You can't take the rat out of the corporation, but you can't take the corporation out of the rat. You are then told that the best they can do right now is put you into Mikoshi, and hopefully you are put in a new body, if they cannot save your current body. Again, there are lots of ifs and maybes here, but remember, this is Arasaka. The only thing that is absolute is them winning. Everything else is chaff. If you have played Phantom Liberty and stayed in Reed's good graces, you also have the option to have him help you out. They succeed in extracting Johnny from V, and V actually gets to keep their body, and again, there's a catch. Any and most cyber implants, especially combat ones, will most likely kill V, because V's brain degraded so much that it cannot handle the strain that the average merc of Night City experiences. When you return to Night City for Victor's opinion, even he says that nothing can be done. You are then beat up by standard street thugs, no matter how hard you try. A harsh reality that V is not the merc they were before. You are then greeted by Misty, who is now rocking Jackie's jacket, and in comparison to you, she actually looks very happy. She has hopeful prospects for the future and even implores you to move and find a more ordinary life. Now, V may be a nobody just like Misty was or is, but both of them are similar in one fact: they are alive. In a city that rewards any merc with a legendary or unremarkable death, V is one of the few that actually survived their quest for becoming a legend at the cost of fading into a nobody. Now again, none of these endings are your conventional good ending that we know in games. Arasaka is still at large, and depending on your choice, even if they are not, a new big corporation has Night City in a tight grip again. There is not a single ending where V is alive and completely well. After all, that is how Night City goes. As Johnny fully knows, a good ending? For people like V and Johnny? Wrong city, wrong people. Throughout Expedition 33, you are directed and motivated by one objective: slay the paintress and stop her from painting. You have played this game before. In Final Fantasy X, you have to stop Sin so that the calm can bring peace to everyone in Spira. But just like Final Fantasy X, things resurface, truths both hidden and obscured slap you in the face. The world you are in is a painted world. It's not quote-unquote real. Maelle is actually Alicia, and she is the sibling of Verso. By stopping the paintress from painting, all life in Lumiere has been erased. Ciel, Luna, everyone. Maelle then learns the truth, and to demonstrate, she paints Ciel and Luna back for the greatest expedition ever, to reach the canvas of this painted world. You are then greeted with a choice: stop Verso from painting, dooming the painted world and all of its inhabitants. Yes, that includes SKA, the Almighty. He will be erased, and this is Verso's ending. After the canvas is put to a close, back in the real world, Clea, Alicia, Renoir, and Aline finally escaped this ugly cycle of the paintress, and finally did what they've been trying to do: move on from the grief of losing Verso, as they stand in front of his grave. With a miniature doll of SKA in hand, Alicia remorsefully but somewhat content looks at Verso's grave and sees that the expedition that accompanied her in the painting wave their final goodbye with smiles, as they have finally gomaged forever. What you can also do, however, is take over for Verso as Maelle. Continue painting the world, this time an ideal one. Lumiere looks better. Ciel is reunited with her husband. Luna is able to enjoy a more ordinary, carefree life with her friends. And Gustave is also reunited with Sophie. It's your textbook good ending, you might think. Verso, always dreaming of playing the piano, is also there, but you can tell by his expression that something is not right. He clearly is aware that the world is painted. This is not a life that he wants. He forces himself to play, and while Maelle and the group watches, she notices the warning she was given. The same degradation and effects of long-term painting that did break Renoir and Aline is starting to take effect on Maelle, despite her confidence that it would not happen to her. On one end, you might think that although painted, they deserve a life free of pain. Maelle's ending is clearly a good ending, you might think. Do note, however, that Maelle's ending shows how broken, blinded, and trapped by grief she is, just like her parents. She just cannot stop painting. And you can also see this as she gets more unhinged during her conversations about stopping the painting of the canvas. This life, while beautiful, that she herself painted, it won't last. Worse now is Clea, Renoir, and Aline may potentially have to deal with Alicia, who is stuck in this canvas as Maelle, once again introducing a new chapter of grief. You might think then that Verso's ending must be good. It ends the cycle of grief. While it may seem that way, and I agree as well because this is the ending I chose, it comes at a very heavy cost. All these lives, while painted, never should have existed in the first place. They still enjoyed the consequences, joys, tribulations, beauty, and horror of living a life, even if it was painted. Even if they object or agree to Verso's choice. Verso ultimately, with a heavy heart, ends all life in the canvas, including Monaco and Esquier and the entire expedition. Beyond that, however, lives are saved. His family can move on. And while painful, they are at least with each other, grieving and moving on, hopefully forward together. Now, Maelle may seem like the bad one here because she's so selfish, right? But in some ways, Verso is as well. He secretly kept so many things from the expedition and even from Maelle. And in some parts, he even contradicted himself a few times, especially in the encounter with Alicia, showing that a small part of him does wish the painted world never really disappeared. In some ways, selfish as well, especially because he did not disclose any of this to Maelle, Luna, or Ciel. Ultimately, this game is really not about good or bad endings. It's about grief and love. There is no proper or ideal way to process and move on from grief because grief is never the same. And people are also never the same. After all, emotion is a language. How people express it is very different. The only thing we can hope for, the only thing Alicia, Aline, Renoir, and Clea could have hoped for, was a way to process this grief of losing Verso in their own way and together, not fighting against each other, and in the process using their painting powers to bring about more pain. Ideally, that's not what they wanted to do. Their intentions were good, but the consequences ultimately were dire. This game is by no means black and white, which is hilarious when some scenes are black and white, which is a metaphor really if you think about it. In those moments, in those scenes where it's black and white, the characters convey their message to us, the spectators and players, of their ethics, morals, ideas, their views, and what they desire. In color, it is for us to influence and unfold ourselves to what we think. In some sense, we too are painters like Maelle, Renoir, and Aline. Like them, we had to process the grief by losing Gustave after all those battles, dialogues, equipment, Lumina investment, EXP farming, etc. The game, however, doesn't give us a chance, much like Maelle and Renoir and Aline. The expedition must go on. In the end, however, instead of starting another cycle, another expedition, we finally have the choice. Stop painting on this canvas, putting all stories at an end, be it ours or the painted lives, or try painting a better painting on this canvas, having to experience the trials and tribulations once again, hoping for a better outcome this time. There is a charming beauty in these kinds of endings, ones that do not plainly tell us what is the good or bad ending, but instead challenge us and make us think and question, how do I want this to end? instead of what ending is the good, true, or best ending. Looking for a good, bad ending? Wrong game. Not this one, I'm afraid. Not all games have to be like this, of course. A game is much like a canvas. It is ours to paint. The experience is all in our hands. Sometimes we have a reference, and we do our best to fill the ideal narrative that the game itself directs us to, much like a good or bad ending. And sometimes there is no reference. There is just an idea, and it's up to us to give it form, like games with endings that are not clearly good or bad. This video may have been heavy, and this is why I love video games. They can be lighthearted, philosophically heavy, or we can just choose to turn our brains off, really, quite literally, and just play. At the end, it's all about enjoyment and fun. The most important thing about having fun, of course, is when we engage in discourse, respecting those who agree and disagree with your stance. After all, this game is not about right or wrong. It's about grief and love. Thank you all so much for watching the video in its entirety. I sincerely hope you enjoyed it. Kindly let me know in the comments which ending you chose, and perhaps if you prefer a more conventional good or bad ending, or if you prefer endings that are not clear and they are more of endings for you to shape. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and have a good day, Foxtrot.